Hour 90 of Adventurers Wanted. Yay! Woo! We are in the 90th hour of a 100-hour D&D campaign. That means you're entering a story at the 90th hour. So unless you've been following online, you will probably be a little bit confused. That is totally fine. We have a relaxed attitude to sound and movement from the audience, which also means that if at any point during the show you're going, what? And want a bit more information, that's totally fine. Let's test you all. On the count of 3, can you give me a big panto ooh? 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Is that an ooh or a boo? I didn't. It was a boo. Oh, I'm sorry.
That was 100% a boo.
It was a very professional boo. Okay, I'll take it. That's fine. Sorry.
God.
Yes, we have a relaxed attitude to sound and movement in the audience, also for the benefit of those who wouldn't be able to be still or silent for an hour. That means the lighting will also stay exactly the same as it is now. There are no loud, sudden noises, although we are mic'd. And there will be some background music. But apart from that, that is all there will be. There are doors to your left. They take you out into a foyer space where Sweet Company staff are wearing black and red t-shirts. If you need anything, pop out, grab them, and they will happily assist you. And if you need assistance in the room, our stage manager Nemo is right there at the back. Do give them a wave or a nod if you need anything in the room. We're happy to assist you. Lovely. So, what are we doing? We are playing Dungeons & Dragons. Tabletop role-playing. Is everyone sort of aware of what that is? Lots of nods. Great, good. For the uninitiated, just to be 100% clear, there are 4 people to my left and right. They play characters in a fantasy universe, and I play the fantasy universe. So I'll be playing everything they encounter, everyone they meet, all the stories and tribulations they go through. It's all me. To make sure I don't abuse that awesome level of power, I have a 20-sided dice. I have many 20-sided dice, but this one is one I'm going to use as an example. 20-sided dice means you roll it, and a 1 or a 20 scale is what comes up. 1s are awful, 20s are brilliant. Feel free to boo and or cheer, depending on the character that rolled. You know, I roll as well, so if we were to boo and I roll, I think that's the best way to put it. Yes, and they have character sheets in front of them with special abilities, which we will go through, which normally add numbers to that 20-sided dice roll, but we try and keep the maths out of it. This is the dullest part of this collaborative storytelling adventure we're doing here. Before I dive too deeply into explaining what's going on, let's meet all of our players. Can you please give me your name, the pronouns you use, your character's name, the pronouns they use, and a little bit about them. For example, I'm Chris, I'm your dungeon master, and I use he, him pronouns.
I'm Catherine, I use she, her pronouns. So does my character,
Dottie Hearthfire. Basically, imagine Molly Weasley became a dragon, but had no knowledge that she became a dragon. My favourite hobbies are cross-stitch, making friendship bracelets, baking, long walks, making friends, and establishing a postal system.
My name is Gavin. I use he, him pronouns, and so does my character, who is called Jim.
Jim.
He's a dwarf barbarian.
Jim, the dwarf barbarian. Thanks,
and he just loves hitting things.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim will bash it.
Does Jim use he, him pronouns as well?
Yes, sorry, yeah.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Okay, I'm Isla, she, her pronouns, and my character is Kimmy, who uses the same. She is a halfling monk, but really not in the monk life for really hurting and hitting things. Pretty good at that, but the main dream is calligraphy.
It's just the way you describe it as the monk life. Sort of the thug life overtones for me somehow. I don't know why.
the monk life chose me.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mick. I use he, him pronouns, as does my character, Frank, the bardic gnome. Essentially, I'd never played Dungeons & Dragons before, so I went on a character creation sheet and picked things I thought were fun and accidentally created a leprechaun. So in order to sort of step away from stereotypes, Frank is quite gruff and surly. He has a thing for rocks, which came up last time. And I think he has a very soft spot for Dottie, but I don't know if Dottie actually knows that, because Frank has quite a gruff exterior.
Aww. Kath, you don't know that. Is it the height discrepancy? Yeah, you're 7 foot tall and you're what?
2.5.
2.5. 2.5 foot tall. Awesome. Let me fill you in on what is going on. Let's have the music fade back in as we do that for atmosphere. Lovely. Sorry, it's 90 hours. Right. The four people to my left and right are characters in a shared universe, and that universe was part of a rebellion. This rebellion was fighting an evil cult. They pushed them back out of their plane of existence. As they pushed them back out of their plane of existence, some of the rebellion decided to follow. As this cult very clearly made threats of, we will be back, and also clearly infested more of this multiverse than just their own plane. They have followed them back to what appears to be a central hub, a space called the Nexus. The Nexus is a clockwork machine that they are inside. Every single wall, ceiling, and floor is made up of clockwork machinery, slowly ticking around them. Within that, the evil cult are currently working to build a machine to send back to their home plane to basically strip mine it of all this special magical ore and destroy it. And the rebellion are now fighting them in this nexus to try and stop this from happening. They're being helped by another cult who dress in yellow, who are much more positive, which we might get to this hour, we might not. So far so good. It's a lot in one go. Lovely. As we ended the last hour, Dottie, you and your allies, because the other three players are not here at the moment.
Oh, where'd they all go?
You met a beholder, a large floating eye monster, which appears to have a clockwork central eye that uses to have special magic powers over time. Distracted you while a bunch of its allies got up behind you and are now smashing their way down the corridor you came down, with a room full of these people behind you. How you feeling, Dots?
I still think he's my blinky friend.
Some people are too nice to live. Right, good. Dottie, would you please make an initiative roll for
Oh
me?
no, crumbs. That's a 10.
A 10 from Dottie. Splendid. As your two hefty melee fighter allies step down this corridor ready to deal with whatever is smashing its way down it towards you, you are stepping back on this balcony overlooking this large room with an armada, a host of these green-robed cultists working on this, what can be described as a monstrous strip mining machine with a beholder floating over them. What would you like to do?
So, previously in this game, I've not been able to use any magic because magic will cause the ore to massively explode
This magical ore is explosive and time-travel-y weirdy. Yeah.
and kill everyone.
Correct.
Is that still the case?
There is a wall of this room that is made up mostly of this ore, but it is a long way away from you, over 120 feet away.
That's good, because otherwise my only weapon is a rolling pin. And I don't want to die. Can I exhale some lightning?
You absolutely can. You are a bronze dragonborn or blue?
I am.
You're bronze. Yes, you're a bronze dragonborn. You have a lightning breath ability, so you can blast lightning out of your mouth. What are you blasting lightning at?
I thought I was being attacked.
There is a creature making its way down this corridor with your two allies standing in front trying to defend you. You can't see it yet.
Oh. Well, then I will carry on as normal.
Cool. As you stand on this balcony overlooking this space, you can see some of these cultists who are not working on this gigantic machine are now running around the edge, up the side stairs, onto this balcony, looking to
happening?
approach you.
Oh,
Let you
gosh.
use your lightning breath on one side if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm a bit startled, and it's like a sneeze out of here. Oh gosh! Achoo!
and your lightning comes out in a line, so it's a line of lightning just fires out and goes through some of these cultists. Can you make an attack roll with it, or is it just a damage roll? It's damage roll. Right. Yeah,
They've
can
got to
you...
make a dexterity saving throw.
Done. Can you please roll the damage on that? 3d6, I think.
Oh, cracky.
Yeah.
Well, that's a 2 and a 2. And a 6.
Lovely. Lightning crackles through them. Some of them manage to get out of the way, but quite a few of them are hit by this and pushed back. As they are trying to come up, you see two of these malformed humanoid creatures are now jumping over and climbing over them and coming up onto this balcony towards you. These two look rather unpleasant.
Oh.
They are large, with very large, wide arms in front of them, which they can use to grab onto things and climb around, but they are now leaping towards you, loping, almost like animals of some description, trying to get around the other side and flank you with whatever is smashing its way down the corridor.
I'm never one to judge a book by its cover, though.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
Is it?
No.
No. Crumbs.
Kimmy, Frank, Jim. That does not sound like a D&D party. The three of you have been sent by Simon and Wasatris, leaders of the Remelian as 'twas, to go after your allies who were looking into the seeming re-arrival of the Colton Green. They came down here by themselves and have now been ambushed, and you are coming up from behind. As you make your way down this clockwork corridor, it is very tight in here. It's only about 5 foot wide, about 10 foot tall. But as the three of you make your way down this corridor, ahead of you can see a monstrous creature is trying. It is bigger than this corridor. It is smashing its way through gears and levers on the side, trying to break its way through this corridor ahead, and you can only assume where your allies are. You are coming up from behind it, but don't you like to do anything?
Jump on it.
You're going to run up and attack it?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Is there any... How strong is my telekinesis?
Your telekinesis can lift 1,000 pounds of weight.
Can I attempt to lift it up and slam it against the wall?
It is currently bigger than the corridor, so you'd be sort of like munging it in a bit.
Can I specifically telekinesis its eyes and like really go for them, try and get...
Oh, so you're basically reaching out two telekinetic hands and going grrr into its face.
Yeah, is that possible?
You can't see its face, but you can try and grab for it.
Okay, I'm going to try that.
Cool. I'm just going to check the rules on telekinesis, because you've just thrown me. Luckily, it's all available on D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond. Some of you know what that is.
Or maybe not eyes, but like try and get in its head somewhere, rip its jaw off or something like that.
Yeah, alright. Okay.
Wow.
Do something awful with telekinesis.
Yeah.
You cast the spell.
Okay.
Just so you're aware, if you concentrate on this spell, you can maintain this telekinetic force for 10 minutes.
Okay. That's good.
So it's very useful, but you can't do a huge amount with it apart from reach, grab, move, pull.
Okay.
So you reach up and grab for this thing's head, which you can't see because it is hulking, and it's kind of in front of it, and you're trying to grab at its head and pull at its eyes.
What do I throw?
I'm making a strength check. I'm making a strength check.
Okay.
It's me. There we go. That is a 13. Does that beat your spell save DC?
I don't know what that is.
Sorry, it's your... What's your spellcasting modifier?
Charisma.
I don't play D&D.
That's alright.
I don't understand this.
Right, this is your charisma +3 plus your health +4. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Okay.
As you reach out for its head, it tries to move its head out of the way, but you are grabbing hold of it and restraining it, by definition. As you grab for it around the head, it starts to try and turn its way around, looking for this new threat, whatever it is. And as it turns, you realise it doesn't have one head. It has two. And as the two heads turn, these two horrible, angry expressions, you are currently sort of pulling both heads apart a little bit and sort of this horrible twisting, but you're managing to sort of restrain it and hold it back, which means that it can't move.
Okay. Can I bash the heads together a bit?
Yeah, push can. Probably 2d6.
6.
Hey!
And 6.
Wow! Conk! Its heads are smacked together and it looks like it's dazed, reeling from this attack. At which point, I'm guessing the monk runs up and smacks it in the torso because it's over 7 foot tall and you are very small. How tall are you? Small, about 3 foot tall. Barbarian, you joining in the attack?
Yeah, feeling pretty excited about getting to hit this guy.
Are you trying to say in a polite way that you're about to start raging?
Yes.
So, two very different kinds of attackers. The barbarian, screaming out a cry of rage, runs up and starts slashing into this creature, while the monk, more focused, more defined, runs in and you're leaping over this barbarian to sort of do hits with your quarterstaff. Yep. Can you both make attack rolls, please? 20-sided dice and add your modifier next to your weapon. 13? As you reach out with your quarterstaff, trying to make your way into this creature, your quarterstaff bounces off its hide in the first hit. It's clearly got quite a rubbery, strong exterior.
Okay. That's better. That is a 23.
Your second strike, as the first one boom, bounces off, is up and into one of the chins, and as you do, you stab up into the chin and hit it quite resoundingly. You want to keep rolling 20-sided dice and do your unarmed strikes, and we'll work out the damage as well, because monks also hit with their fists and their feet and their heads and God knows what else.
Gonna do a flurry of blows.
You do a flurry of blows, so 2 unarmed strikes. What are your unarmed strikes?
What are they as in describe them, or
Yes.
what are they do they hit?
Both.
Okay, the first one does not hit, so I'm just gonna try and,
Punch.
Not punch,
Open
but
palm.
open palm.
You open palm into one of the heads and it just bonk. Doesn't break through its armor. Its snarling face is now right next to you.
try kicking it.
Lovely.
And that is even worse. So, good.
But your first quarter star strike did get through and did impact its chin. Please roll the damage on that, please.
So that is 9 points of damage.
9 points of damage. You crack it in the chin. Barbarian.
So I rolled a 3, so I'm guessing I miss.
3 plus what? The number next to your weapon.
Oh.
9.
12.
12. You're right. You run in with your... Is it a hammer or an axe?
Warhammer,
It's a
200.
warhammer, 200. Run in with your warhammer and try and crack it in the knees, but it just bounces off this strong creature's hide. You do have a second attack.
Yeah, I'll use my sure attack.
Thank you. Oh dear.
1.
It's a natural 1 on the dice there. You try and attack twice but don't manage to break through its armour. However, 1 hit did get through. And as your hit got through and cracked it in the chin, something happened. Yeah. The head that you hit, its eyes glow and it roars in a kind of similar to the rage your barbarian friend is showing back at you, and clearly damaging it means it is more powerful.
Oh, bloody hell.
Might have been a bad
Sorry,
idea.
apologies for my language.
Stop hitting it!
Can I ask if the lads on the other side of it are they attacking? Are they still attempting to do damage?
Because the players aren't here, I'm going to say they're running in, doing random attacks. Some of them hit. They do some damage.
Good. So it's
Having
got.
a flat roll on. There we go. There are other people on the other side also hacking into its back, yes.
So is it getting more powerful from them as well?
Yes.
Is that the idea? I see.
Lovely. It is now its turn. Sorry. It, at this point, seeing everything unfurling in front of it, with its horrible shrieking rage, uses one of its hands to try and grab the monk currently sat in between its two heads. What is your current armor class, monk?
20.
Monks. 25. You are grabbed, and a hooked claw just reaches out and shrieks across front of you and just grabs hold of you, and you are held tightly in its hand. It does 5d12. In the sake of breath in the room is fair. 19 plus 16 is 35. Plus 7 is 42. You take 42 points of damage. The actual impact of the strike is not that powerful. The strike across you it's not that strong. But the sheer anger radiating out of it seems to warp and twist in your mind, causing you significant amounts of damage as it reaches out and grabs you. With its other strike, it's going to try and take out the barbarian at its feet. That is a 19 to hit. What is your current armor class?
14.
Is it 12?
That's a 12. Hey!
Yay.
3 plus 18 is 41 plus 51. 51 points of damage as it slashes into you. However, because you are raging, you only take 37 points of damage because the physical damage affects you even less than it already would, but the psychic damage rolls across your brain. Only 37. Good for him. Dottie, you are standing on this balcony. There's clearly fighting going on down the corridor, blocking your path, the only escape route out of here, as these two creatures are loping up either side of you, about to attack you. What would you like to do?
The creatures being two-headed things? Or
No,
cultists?
there are cultists that were on one side, were pushed away by your lightning and are now running back to keep fixing the machine. The other cultists are joining in, but they're staying out the way of these two horrible things, which you get the sense can't distinguish friend from foe very easily. And the two running up to you don't have two heads, no, they just look really sad.
Oh no! I don't want to attack something.
Roll me an insight check.
That is
A
a 10.
10. If you had to guess the emotion on their faces, you'd say loneliness. You're saying that now. Dottie, what would you like to do?
My one weakness, a lonely person. Hello.
Would you like to attack them or do anything?
No, I want to help them.
How would you like to help them?
You don't have to do this. If you're lonely and isolated, come speak to Dottie. she'll help soothe your wounds.
I'm gonna die.
Right. They both leap out at you.
No.
They are trying to embrace you. It looks like
Oh.
they really need physical contact.
Oh.
Oh.
What is your armor class at the moment?
11.
Yeah, one grabs you with one arm. The other grabs you with both arms. You're now being pulled between them, both desperately trying to embrace you, but
No.
seeming to fight with each other.
No, it's okay. We can
About-
all be friends, please.
About-
Dottie is fragile.
You are being sort of puppy loved from two sides in a rather awful way. You take 16 points of damage as one tears you one way.
Oh gosh.
7, 11, 20 points of damage as you're pulled the other. They are both trying to embrace you. Neither is managing to at the moment. They're going to be fighting each other over you at this point.
No, there's
If-
plenty of Dottie to go around. Listen, I've got about an indiscriminate number of orphans back home. I'm used to loving many people at once.
I'm just going to give you a little hint, Dottie. If one of them embraces you, you don't want that. Just going to put it out there. You don't want that, okay?
I do want it.
No, you really don't. You really don't.
I don't. Dottie does.
That's where we're at.
I'm gonna die by a hug.
We're going to do 1, 2, 3 as we did last time. There's no rolling initiative. Kimmy, what would you like to do? You are grabbed by this angry creature.
I would try and get out of the grab, I think.
Okay,
And I
contest
just
a grapple,
try
that's
and
fine.
wriggle
Yes,
free.
absolutely.
What is that?
That is athletics or acrobatics on your half, please.
That is a 20.
You manage to wriggle free and wriggle out of the creature's grasp. It looks at you, the blue light in its eyes dying down slightly as you step away from it.
So stop hitting it. Just restrain it, but don't hit it.
You are currently holding it restrained. It cannot move forward. You've stepped out of its range. That's totally fine.
Can I inquire as to the nature of the corridor we're in? Or is it very clockworky?
It is very clockworky. It is about 5 foot wide, 10 foot tall. This creature literally blocks it.
Now, is there any chance I can use telekinesis to move one of the clockwork pieces underneath it and cause it to fall into your room below?
You are walking along towards it. There is no room below.
There's nothing below. Okay,
It is
so
just clockwork.
It's just
everywhere.
clockwork, but there's nothing. Okay.
You could
okay.
try and push it into the wall and see if it gets caught in it. I mean, that's also an option.
Yes, I shall try that.
You use your telekinesis.
Although the fact that you've suggested it means it's going to go horribly wrong for me, isn't it? At least I'll
Not necessarily.
Okay.
You use your telekinesis to push this creature, and instead of trying to hit it or damage it, you are literally just mashing it against the wall. It's going to contest with your spell save DC, see if it can stop itself from being pushed. That is a 16, which just beats your 15. So it is currently trying to work against you, not giving any room, but it can't move. It is held fast by this spell. What's that do?
Can I push him physically? Like to help him?
Yes, I gave that move advantage, rolling it twice. You also, not attacking, just push this creature against the wall with your gnome bard friend.
Bugger you.
And you are just slowly pushing it. You realise you're pushing it into the wall. You're not so much trying to... What's happening is it's being ground by the gears in the wall as you are shoving it into it. It is taking damage from this, so it is getting angry.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it took a lot of damage from that. It's getting very angry.
I
But
said restrain it, not jam it into the wall.
as you jam it into this tooth, it's getting like crushed against all the things on the side. You have made a small corridor that could be travelled down in either direction.
Good.
You have made a small corridor that could be travelled down in either direction.
That's not good.
Just putting it out there.
Oh no.
Lovely. That's the three of you.
Dottie,
Because it is
come
taking
to me.
Hello.
because it is taking damage.
Please, I'm being hugged so aggressively. Someone didn't let in the rules of touching.
Oh, is that the tone we want? Really?
I meant as in didn't learn not to be rough.
I'm sure that's better.
I'm not very good with my words. Partly, Catherine, am very hungover. Partly, Dottie is very squished.
Right. As this small gap is clear and there is a way through, the creature, now very angry, it's still taking damage, is going to try and strike out the barbarian next to it, the only creature it can reach as it is still restrained by the telekinesis. What is your armor class again? 14. 14. Yep. 2 of its hooks reach out and try and smash into you, which they both do, splitting the damage. Hang on. Maths. 24. 34. You take 34 points damage. Again, these strikes are not that hard, but where it does pierce your flesh with its hooks, the hooks piercing your flesh makes your mind warp and twist in ways where the sheer anger and force of this creature appears to be burning its way into your psyche. Just so you know. Just putting it out there. Long-term effects may happen. Right! Dottie, you are trying to be hugged by 2 creatures that are tearing you between them wildly.
Be gentle with Dottie.
Like 2 angry dogs just like tearing back and forth on a bone. What would you like to do?
Oh, gosh. Oh,
It's not positive.
death by hug. Nah. I don't know if there's anything I can do.
There's lots of things you could do. You have access to an entire spell sheet in front of you.
I do. But I don't want to hurt these creatures. I've grown to love them in a hassled way. Like walking down the Royal Mile in the Edinburgh Fringe. Yeah, can I turn in? I've got wild shape, which means I can turn into an animal. Can I turn into something very small and scuttle away?
Yes, of course you can. What would you like to turn into scuttle away that's very small?
Do you know? I don't know. Do you know?
Like a mouse or...
Oh, I was thinking. I don't know why my head said wombat. That's literally.
You can have a wombat. I will allow a wombat.
I feel like that's a terrible plan.
Why? It could be great.
Wombats are not dexterous nor strong.
Oh, wombats are apparently super strong. I hear a word from the back. They also do square, sort of cuboid poos.
Huh.
But the only man in the animal kingdom that does that, cuboid poos. I don't know why.
That could come unuseful for jamming gears.
Anyway,
They're great quite easily.
maybe
Not like, oh, this is too strong.
maybe a cat.
A cat, absolutely.
Dottie
As you are
loves
being yanked left and right by these 2 creatures, suddenly you turn into a cat, far smaller, no longer held by these 2 creatures and can easily move. Would you like to move away? Where are you going?
Away.
Into the large room full of cultists, or down the corridor towards the big thing with 2
Down
heads?
the corridor.
You scamper down said corridor. You manage to make your way to where this big thing is being jammed into the wall. There is a very small space you can make your way through if you so choose to.
I'm a cat, so I'm very dexterous. I might climb up the wall a little bit.
Sure, make an acrobatics check.
Oh crap!
Add +2 to it, you're a cat.
That's
Is that a natural 1, is
that's
it?
a natural 1. I thought it would. I thought I'd be out the way if I kind of.
What does your cat look like?
I'm a little tabby.
Oh, little tabby
With
cat.
a little bell.
A little tabby cat with a little bell. That's very
And
sweet.
my socks are white.
Oh, that's very sweet.
A little white patch over here.
As your little tabby cat with the white patch over the little white socks runs up towards the side, it tries to climb up the wall and falls off and lands on its ass.
Oh, okay.
You are now sat on the far side of this
Technically
creature.
my feet.
No, your ass.
Cats always.
Oh, cats always under their feet. This one didn't. You rolled a 1. You landed on your behind. You're kind of looking a little bit perplexed, sitting as a little tabby cat form with this gigantic creature in front of you, just looking a bit confused about the whole situation. The 2 creatures that were behind you are now trying to make their way into this corridor.
Oh no!
They reach the end of the corridor and are flailing away looking for something to hug.
The people love Dottie too much.
They, one manages to push the other out the side and push his way into the corridor, and but it is slightly too big for this corridor as well, so having to try and reach out and grab you. So you have these 2 grabbing arms behind you, sort of clasping out, trying to reach, but just not making enough space ahead because I rolled rather poorly.
Out of game, I am imagining these 2 creatures a little bit like the little girl from Finding Nemo who's like, Fishy! Fishy!
Why not? Yeah. Yeah. Fishy.
That's
One of them says, Catty! This is
Meow.
excellent. What are you 3 up to? Give me.
So I'm on top of the
No.
weird.
You have moved back out of the way because you didn't attack it
Okay,
very
that's
sensibly, while your 2 allies are currently moving to grind it into the wall.
Can I?
Grim.
What can I see? Can I see the room below?
If you made your way past it, you could probably slide past it and see the room below if you want to.
I'm gonna go and see if there's anywhere we can put this monster.
Okay. So you tumble. You'd have to use step of the wind or something to get past it without taking attacks opportunity from it. You tumble past this creature. Monks using their special abilities to run up walls and around ceilings. So you sort of run around and run down past all these creatures and are now on this balcony overlooking this scenario. There is a gigantic war machine being built by cultists who are currently trying to fix all the pieces together, and floating above it is this beholder, a giant floating eye creature with eyes on the end of stalks coming out of its body. Its central eye, you note, is not an eye, it is a sort of clockwork machine with a sort of camera-style lens which turns and looks at you as you enter the room, and the lens sort of irises a little like a blink.
Okay, I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna signal to both of you if I can see you this way, heading this way, like a.
Like you're trying to
Yeah.
push it back into the room.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna turn around again. I'm gonna try and jump on the beholder.
I mean, yeah,
I'm
you
using step of the whatchamacallit. I've got a good jump.
Cracky.
Oh dear.
Oh dear,
See as a cat.
Yes, you can try and jump on the beholder. Please do.
Acrobatics.
Go for it.
Okay, that's not great. 13.
13. You running jump through the air and leap out, and the beholder looks a bit surprised. It wasn't expecting this, and suddenly this halfling has just landed on it, and it's just. What you get is, "Excuse me, do you mind?" As it lands on top, as you land on top of it. That is the end of your turn. You've run a long ass way.
Yeah,
You are now
fair
on
enough.
top of a beholder.
Oh no. Well, beauty is literally in the eye.
That doesn't make any sense. Okay,
How strong is my telekinesis?
you can push 1,000 pounds worth of weight.
Can I push this thing down the corridor, off the balcony, and into the cultists below?
You can certainly try.
I try.
Do you want to assist him in this?
Yes.
No. Sorry, it rolled very well.
Dice.
You push, and the cat just suddenly being sort of pushed down the corridor, currently between the grabbing claws of this horrible, lonely creature, the huge hulking back of this very angry creature, which you are still next to, but no one has attacked this round. We'll get to that. With a cat sandwiched in between going, no. I'm not quite sure which side to go to. It is pushed back a little, but not out completely. As it's pushed back, it's going to try and attack you, but it does so not as well as it used to. Yep. The first claw sort of scuts across onto your armour. The second one manages to punch a hole in your shoulder, but you only take half as well. Sorry. Where are my dice? You only take 7 points of damage as it slashes you in the shoulder because no one attacked it. So it is clearly flailing and not as good if no one is punching the hell out of it, but you are slowly pushing it back and away.
I am not looking too good right now, guys, so if we could stop angering this thing.
Said quietly during this insane scenario. Yeah, fine, totally fine. Dottie, what would you... Meow. What would you like to do in this scenario? You're currently being sandwiched between the grasping claws of something very lonely and an angry back. And there is now no space to pass through because they didn't hold it to the side.
Whoops.
Can I wiggle my way out a little bit?
Which direction?
I don't know any direction. I just don't want to be squeezed to death.
Make an acrobatics check for me. 11.
But wait, I can't.
Are you adding 3 to it? Not
Oh, sweet, 13.
13. Okay. As you're pushing, straining away on this side, there's a sort of faint... And suddenly out the top of it, A cat just pops out the top and lands by both of your feet, looking a little worse for wear. It just starts grooming all of the fur that's been kind of gear smashed on the way. But Dottie, you are now with your 2 allies. Again, if you want to assist them trying to push this creature down this corridor. The 2 lonely creatures are now, bizarrely enough, clawing their way up this corridor, trying to smash their way in, and grabbing hold of the angry creature, and are trying to grab hold of it because they're so lonely. So now these 3 are creating a sort of horrible bundle of terrible emotion, like a ball of bad emotion.
This is a mood.
This is a mood.
Same.
Just holding themselves together at the top here.
Is it still? I can't have a go. No.
I'm afraid there is a turn to go before yours. It's not one we want to happen, but it has to. Kimmy. The beholder, the gigantic eye, just turns around and looks at you. Just wave at it.
I'm gonna smash it in the eye.
No! You can certainly try. Make an attack roll.
Kimmy is in the eye.
Kimmy is in the eye of the beholder.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That is 16 plus 6.
22. You reach out with your staff and swing forward. As you swing forward, the eye in front of you does a strange blinking thing, and your attack literally rewinds. You have to make it again.
I make it again.
It has time magic.
I'm very confused.
Chronomancer.
That is not as good. That is 8 plus 6.
Point of the ability. You try and reach in and stab it with it, but this time you don't manage to get quite as good a swing on it, and it bounces off its hide, and you hear a deep throaty. You have two more attacks in general. Other things you can do. Tell me what you want to do. It does have the ability to counter certain things.
I'm just very confused now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give up on hitting the eye.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try and hit one of its tentacle-y things.
Tentacly eyes.
In that
Go for it.
case.
Make attack roll.
Yeah. Oh, that was so close to 20, but it was 2.
You try and reach out with your quarterstaff and smack one of its eye tendrils, but they are basically just long tentacles with an eye on the end of it. Just sort of goes out of the way as the staff passes around.
Right, I'm confused and I think I'm not going to get anywhere with this big beholder thing if I can't hit it.
Yep.
So I'm just going to slide down the tentacle and jump off
Into the cult.
into the cult.
I've had enough of this.
Well, you would slide down the tentacle and into that, but it gets its action first. Cool.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Can you please make me it's a saving throw. To roll a d20, and I'll tell you what kind when I've just loaded up the spell.
Is it against being frightened?
It's a wisdom saving throw. No, it is not.
Oh no.
Critical failure on that one.
Critical failure. As you swing up and slide down its arm, your mind is not affected by this, but your body is. You're moving at about half speed. It appears that time around you has been slowed down, and you are now moving very, very slowly as the creature just watching you go down its stalk, just looking, the other eyes moving in close to you.
There.
Yep. It is going to use one of its eye rays. Yeah.
We're gonna die.
Can you please make me a dexterity saving throw with disadvantage because you're slowed down?
I don't want all my tiny friends to die.
It is just one big
16.
dragon.
16. Despite being slowed down, despite all of this effect, you manage to leap off this eye as a beam of grey energy passes past you, sort of backflip over it incredibly slowly. But you are now landing in the centre of a huge number of cultists working around this hellfire engine. Gimme, that's the end of your turn. Good luck. Right. Are you
Okay.
still pushing this thing down a corridor?
How close is it to the edge of the corridor?
It is now nearly out, and it is now just this rolling mass of creatures trying to grab over it, you're both just there going, "Rah." It's trying to deal with this.
I will keep pushing.
Okay, are you still helping?
Grenade system, yeah.
Oh, there's the natural one you've been waiting for. Right! Your telekinesis spell, and you raging just push out, and with a sudden, the entire mass of creatures just comes out the end of this corridor and just goes flailing, falling apart in midair, down into this mass of cultists. Kimmy, where you are standing, you look up and, oh no, these monsters start falling out of the sky towards you. Get to it on your turn. Dottie, in cat form, watching this happen, what would you like to do? The cat is going to cat. Excellent.
I don't feel like there's much more point in being a cat. Can I turn back into a dragon?
Of course you can. So now back into dragon form.
No.
That is your action. So yes. Kimmy! There are angry, twisted, disfigured monsters falling towards you. What would you like to do?
Run out of the way.
Okay.
Possible?
Of course it is. You are a monk. You can use Step of the Wind. You can always do that. If you have a key point left. You can even, at this point, run up vertical surfaces. Now you are making dexterity checks at disadvantage because you're slowed down, but can you make me 3? 3 dexterity saving throws, please. If you roll well, this will be fucking cool. If you don't, it'll be hilarious. I'm fine with either.
4 plus 8.
So, okay, 12,
8 plus 8.
16.
And 3 plus 8. 11.
As these creatures fall, your mind clears. You are a very well-trained Kensei monk. You know how to do this. And as they fall, despite being slowed down, you kick off and start running up the falling bodies, trying to leap your way up to the balcony and make your way to safety. You leap on the first one, 2 steps, flip up to the next one. You are moving at half speed. You are very, very slow. But these creatures and your training together mean you're just about managing to, just on the edge of this, try and save yourself. You run. You manage to make your way to the last one, leap off, your staff overhead, jam it into the wall. You haven't reached top of the balcony, but you are sort of halfway up this balcony space as these creatures bash their way through a bunch of cultists. There's a sort of Wilhelm scream or two, and everything is knocked out of the way like bowling pins. The beholder, seeing this happen, watching this whole situation unfurl, just chuckles quietly.
It's quite a funny situation.
I will give you this. You are amusing enemies.
Oh, enemies. I thought you were my blinky friend.
What would the three of you like to do? Standing on the edge of this balcony, your ally hanging halfway down it.
Help our friend, who I've not met before. Who are these people? They're all very small.
Are you going to try and pull her up?
Yes.
You're going to try to
How,
sustain?
can I reach my warhammer off the side? How far
Dottie
is that,
Dottie is 7 foot tall.
Oh.
So I will say that if you hold on to Dottie's ankles, Dottie could reach Kimmy. If Dottie is willing.
Yes, Dottie is always willing to help a friend. Dottie is just slightly afraid.
Okay. Can you roll an athletics check with advantage first, please? To hold on to Dottie's ankles, she swings down to grab Kimmy.
So D20?
Yeah, 2 times, get the higher number.
11.
Plus.
9. 20.
20. You grab hold of Dottie, saying, "Grab her!" Reach down, and Dottie, you can use an athletics check to grab hold of Kimmy.
Oh no, Dottie's not great at the old athletics. Ooh, 21.
21! Splendid. You grab hold of Kimmy, and you are now able to swing back up. At this point, you realise that your telekinesis spell could have done this without them risking it, but you know. Which is still active. You've still got telekinetic sort of mind force floating around that you can use. Would you like to do anything with it before you guys turn tail and run?
Can I use a different spell?
Yes, of course you can.
Can
if
I-
it's a concentration spell, you will lose your telekinesis.
Can I detect thoughts of the big eye thing?
Of course you can.
I want to try that, see what it's up to.
Absolutely. Can you... What is... it's a saving throw against 15 for you. I mean, it's very smart. I'd be very careful with this. You get a brief shot of what's in its head, but only a brief one. What are you looking for?
Its weakness, anything we can do to stop it? Or anything that might be useful against it?
I see. As you look inside his head, as your allies swing Kimmy back over the side and you are starting to run out of this room, down the smashed corridor and back to your allies to warn them of the cult's impending arrival, the only thing you get in your mind is that this creature does spells with time, and that time isn't always linear.
Okay.
That's the thing.
That's what I get.
That's what you get.
Okay.
It is a hint, but
Here's a hint.
if it takes a couple of days to work out what it means, that's fine. And with that, we have to end this Our Adventurers Wanted. Thank you ever so much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thoroughly appreciate having everyone in the room today. Excellent. We are on social medias. A bit old for this. We're on Twitter at Adventurers250, where you can follow what's been going on so far, as our stage manager Nemo has been live tweeting the entire last hour and all of the hours before that, along with our other stage manager Naomi. So it's like an interactive novel with GIFs. An interactive novel with GIFs. I'm told that's cool. I don't know. There's animal GIFs. Oh, animal GIFs. Apparently that's a thing. Cats and wombats. There we go. So, if that's your sort of thing, you can check it out on there. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. We're mostly Adventurers Wanted on all of them, so do have a look and check us out. Thank you for joining us in the room. As you guys all know, it's a fiver to be here. It is also a fiver to play, as both of our two players on the far sides know. We are very welcoming, and we want to introduce this hobby to as many people as possible, as we think it is lovely and a really nice way to spend an afternoon. If you think that's as important as we do, we have a Patreon online as well, where you can donate to what we're doing, or there's simply a donate button on our website, adventurerswanted.co.uk, one or the other, that has a donate button for those who wish to have less of a commitment, which I completely understand. Otherwise, I have 4 delightful players to my left and right who played a wonderful hour of D&D. Thank you ever so much, guys. I would like to give you the last minutes before we have to vacate the stage. Well, you guys vacate the stage. We're doing another couple hours. To plug what you're working on at the Fringe, if you are, or other stuff that you like.
I have flyers.
Yay!
I'm doing a show called My Left Nut. It's the true story of the time I had testicular surgery as a teenager, but it's also about grief and not having a dad and my mum being great. We're on in 45 minutes in Summerhall, so I need to run and do my get-in. But it's going well, and I really enjoy it, so there's a flyer here if you want it.
Lovely. Thanks very much, man.
I am a sign language interpreter, so if anyone needs a sign language interpreter, I interpret this show in the morning from 10:30 till 11:30, and that's, as you can imagine, great fun.
If you've never seen someone BSL interpret an improvised performance with terms that don't exist in BSL, it's amazing. 10:30 every morning. Check it out.
I exist in Edinburgh all 12 months of the year. I do performance poetry. If that's something you think sounds good, check it out. If you think that's something that sounds crap, still check it out. So you can have a story about a time you watched bad poetry. But I promise it's not bad poetry. If you go to Facebook... I'm going to try and prove you wrong. I'll prove you wrong, I promise. If not...
Stop talking.
Anyway, just go to Facebook and it's Catherine Wilson Poetry.
Thanks, Gav.
I'm not working on anything at the minute, but I'd just like to second that My Left Nut is great. You should go see it.
He's my friend.
You could have let that one lie, couldn't you? I've never met this man in my life. What a coincidence. Yeah, there we go. Lovely. Thank you ever so much. Thank you for joining us for this hour. We hope to see you again. If not, have a lovely Fringe. Cheers. Bye. Very good.
Thanks very much again. It was great crack.